matter the location. From OAKLA to LV, I'm a Raider.
Happy Father's Day out there to all the dads. If you want to get your father something special, go to manscaped.com/Raiders. You'll be able to save 20% off and get free shipping. Today's show on the Raiders Report, the top players that need training camp the most. Now, why is this a topic of discussion? Because the Big C has forced the NFL to cancel OTAs and minicamps. The start of training camp, that one is still a little bit undecided, but with a lot of these players that really need to be able to prove themselves, maybe a player that's battling a roster position, maybe a guy that's right on the roster bubble. These are the players that need training camp the absolute most. And fingers crossed that we do end up getting it. So if you're one of those people that's just like die-hard Raider fan, right? Like you can't get enough Raiders content, we are the channel for you. So if you want to subscribe to the channel, it's 100% free for the next 365 days. You can click the big red button that says subscribe, or for some reason you can't find it, it'll be in the comments, and I'll put in the description a link that's clickable. I'm trying to get to 49K subscribers by the end of June. Please, please, please help me out. All right, let's get into the top players here that need training camp the most. At number 10, it's P.J. Hall, and I'm going to go from number 10, and I'm going to work my way all the way down to number 1. Why is P.J. Hall here on the list? Or if you remember, he was on the trade block earlier this offseason. He's entering year 3 with the team. A lot of times, if a guy can't prove himself by this time, you're going to see a team move on. Remember, the Raiders, they signed a player in Daniel Ross in free agency. Why does that matter? Because I think you're going to look at a team that's going to keep 4 defensive tackles, and I think it's really going to come down to P.J. Hall or Daniel Ross. Ross also kind of has an advantage because he has worked before with new defensive line coach Rod Marinelli. So I've already put out my video of the players that I think are going to make our final roster. Here's my depth chart projection. I do have P.J. Hall just edging out Ross, but it honestly wouldn't surprise me if we don't get into training camp, if there are no preseason games, if Rod Marinelli really kind of trusts his gut here and goes with a player that he knows a little bit better in Daniel Ross. So that's why P.J. Hall is number 10. Let's now go to number 9 on my list. It's at the quarterback position. It's Marcus Mariota. The biggest reason why Mariota needs training camp is not so much that it's a quarterback battle, because let's face it, it's Derek Carr's job. But if Marcus wants to at least have the hope of starting, you need training camp and preseason to happen, and he should want it to happen, right? Because he can make up the $37.5 million in incentives if he finds a way to carry this team to the playoffs. But when you work with a new offense, that takes timing. And it also takes, well, you're getting to know the players that you're working with. Last season was a struggle. Ryan Tannehill just flat out took his job, and Tannehill deserved to have that job. Mariota didn't play well. But I'm trying to get the 2016 version out of him, and the only way to do that, I think, is to practice with your team. Speaking of practice with your team, you'd be able to practice with a receiver like Zay Jones if he could go to training camp. He's number 8 on my list. I've talked about Zay Jones and potential cap cuts. I've talked about Zay Jones and trade rumors. Y'all have pitched in Zay Jones trade rumors as well. Why? Because he is on that roster bubble. You can't put it any other way. The team goes out and they add Nelson Aguilar. Zay Jones and Nelson Aguilar are going to battle it out there for that wide receiver 5 spot. Plus, you drafted Henry Ruggs, advantage Ruggs over Jones. Lynn Bowden Jr., who probably going to play a little bit more running back, but still can play wide receiver. And then Brian Edwards. If this Raiders team ends up only keeping 6 receivers, Zay Jones is right there on the roster bubble. So I do want to say happy Father's Day out there to all the dads. I love my dad. I love my grandfather very, very much. If you're trying to get your dad something special, remember, you can go to manscaped.com/Raiders and save 20%. So I want every single person that watches this video to go in the comments section and to type Happy Father's Day. If you want to put your dad's name down there, hey, go for it. That's what the Raiders Report's all about. It's about family. Here's a picture of my dad and I. I was 1 year old here. Yes, shout out to my dad, the mustache. You guys can see where I got it from. But by far the 2 most important men in my life, my dad there, which you can see in the striped shirt on the left, and my grandfather, that's at my graduation. They've been with me for a long, long time. So happy Father's Day to all the dads. Much love. But if you need to get your dad something special for Father's Day, hey, I get it. It's today. Maybe you waited too long. You can still get him something nice. Go to manscaped.com/Raiders. You're going to be able to save 20% and get free shipping. My favorite product personally is the Lawnmower 3.0. It is the best male grooming kit, not kit, best male grooming tool out there. What does it do that just other companies or other tools can't do? There's no tug. There's no pull. It's got a rechargeable battery. And how about you? I like to do this when I'm in the shower so I don't create so much of a mess. It's also waterproof. Lawnmower 3.0 is made to help, stay clean. Women like when you stay clean. If you're not a father, maybe the reason is, well, you haven't gotten the Lawnmower 3.0 yet. All right, let's get back into some of these players here that need training camp the most. At number 7, it's Foster Moreau. And if you know me, you know that I absolutely love Foster Moreau. He is one of my breakout candidates, but let's face it, he does need training camp to happen. You're looking at a player who finished his rookie season on the IR with a bad knee injury that happened in Week 11. Then what did the Raiders do this offseason? You go out and add a player like Jason Witten, and I've really looked at the depth chart. I've looked at a lot of what the coach has been saying. You'll see that I've swapped Witten and Moreau because I think if the season started today, Witten would be the tight end too. And as much as I like Moreau and I want him to get on the field more, he needs to be able to show the coaches that he is 100% healthy, that he deserves to be the tight end too behind Darren Waller. But if he can't get on the field, if those preseason games can't happen, I'm sorry, he's going to be the tight end. He's going to be the tight end 3 right now. Let's get down to my top 6 players. I got Isaiah Johnson here, cornerback out of Houston. Remember, a lot of people consider Johnson the steal of the draft in the 2019 NFL draft. It ended up being Max Crosby. That's all good. But you're looking at a player who's got unbelievable athletic ability. For a corner to be 6'2", over 200 pounds, and move the way Johnson does, there's a lot of excitement there. But injuries absolutely plagued his rookie season. And if you're looking at a player who I'll put right now as the cornerback 4, he is battling for a roster spot. And John Gruden showed me multiple times last season that he didn't quite trust him. If he wants to earn Gruden's trust, he needs to start showing him how to play. So here's the Raiders' projection for their depth chart for the defensive backfield. Said that really weird. I do have Johnson kind of being that backup to Trayvon Mullen. If, God forbid, anything happened to Mullen, I think the Raiders would try to trust the young guy out of Houston in Isaiah Johnson. Sure, you still have players like Arnett, Nevin Lawson, but if Johnson kind of wants to get some playing time and remain the cornerback 4, I know the Raiders do believe in Lawson, but until he can get on the field, he's one of their guys that does need training camp to happen. Let's go to another wide receiver on my list. I started with Zay Jones at number 8. I'm going to go to Rico Gragg here at number 5 because, in my opinion, the Raiders keep only 6, maybe they keep 7 receivers. The way that this team keeps 7 receivers is if you potentially move on from a guy like Nathan Peterman, or if you just want more outside speed. Rico Gragg has plenty of outside speed, but it's just finding that roster spot for him. And when I look at the receiving depth chart, he's number 7 there. He's on the roster bubble. So last season, the reason why y'all love Gafford is because he made one big play, right? 56-yard touchdown from Derek Carr, and we want to see a little bit more excitement. Does he bring excitement? Yes. Does he bring some special teams ability? Absolutely. But for a player who is kind of only one-dimensional, and his one dimension is speed, which, hey, you can't really teach it, I just don't know if that's going to be enough for Rico Gafford to ultimately make this team. But I want you guys to go down in the comments, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you see this video. I want you to predict, will Rico Gafford make the team? Y for yes, or give me an N for no. So I can remain the host here at the Raiders Report because I hope I make the final roster. I need to get to 49K subs by June 30th. Yes, I had to double check with producer Alicia that there was 30 days in June, but I need to get to 49,000 subscribers by the end of this month. We got about 2 weeks, and I need 800 subs. That's a long way to go. So I'm asking from the bottom of my heart, hit sub, send the channel to everyone that you know that's a big Raider fan. I would definitely appreciate it. At number 4 here of the Raiders that need training camp the most, it's Arden Key, and probably not too much of a surprise here, right? You're looking at a player who's got all the talent in the world. He just needs to be able to put it on the football field, and I think that he is 100% on that roster bubble. Sure, if they cut him, it costs $413K, but the Raiders invested in Carl Nassib this offseason. As much as I point the finger, and we'll get to another player that could impact, you're really looking at 2 seasons here for Key where 2018 simply just didn't really show up. Sorry, he didn't. Yes, he had 11 quarterback hits. He needs to be able to translate those better to sacks. Last season, battled injuries. So inconsistent play plus injuries doesn't really keep you around. I like Arden Key's talent, but the Raiders are doing what they can to replace him. So if he doesn't start to step up and make way, it's going to be a tough offseason for him. And honestly, it wouldn't really surprise me if they ended up moving on from him. So I would say the key to make sure that you look good is taking care of your nose and your ear area. The Weed Whacker from Manscaped is going to help you do that. It's the best nose ear trimmer on the market. So all you got to do to get this, go to manscaped.com/Raiders. You'll be able to save 20% off and get free shipping. I don't know about you. I know I just showed my dad and my grandfather on the show. They probably wouldn't like me saying this. But yeah, they need the Weed Whacker. They got some stuff growing out of their nose, out of their ears. It's maybe why they can't hear me. Bottom line is this. If you're trying to get your dad something special, you got a special man in your life, go get him the Weed Whacker. Go get him the lawnmower. Both of those products are available at manscaped.com/Raiders. And oh yeah, free shipping and 20% off. At number 3 here on my list of Raiders that need training camp, I got Cleveland Ferrell. And the Raiders obviously have a lot of confidence in him, right? And they obviously think that he's a great player. Cleveland Ferrell. So not Rico. It's all good. As much as I love Clee and as much as I know John Gruden loves him, the Raiders did invest in Carl Nassib. That has to be talked about. And he's going to be battling for a starting job. And Max is going to be cemented in as the one starter. But when you draft a player number 4 overall, you expect him to not only be a starter, but to be Pro Bowl caliber. And Clee just didn't show that last year. Now, he added 13 pounds to bulk up this year. He's up to 275 pounds. But his competition is going to come down between him and Carl Nassib, who was really going to edge out to become that the left defensive end position. Because whoever loses becomes the third guy. Now, you're going to see Ferrell and Nassib definitely rotate in and out. But I also know that there's a reason why the Raiders went out and got Nassib for 3 years, $25 million, gave him $17 million guaranteed. There was confidence in him. So, Clee, you got to step up. Let's now get into my top 2 players. And if you made it this far, guess what? It's the Raiders Report. I'm allowed to cheat. Number 2 is the Raiders UDFAs, right? So, I mean, I've interviewed some players before, Dominic Eberle, the kicker, also Madre Harper. It's really tough for a UDFA to be able to make the team if you don't get a chance to show yourself on the field. And for everyone out there that's like, Mitch, they're just UDFAs. I mean, remember, Tyrell Williams, he was a UDFA at one time. You can find solid players like a Jalen Richard, also a UDFA. You can find these guys, but they need a chance to be able to show themselves. Training camp, mini camp, OTAs, that's normally their chance to do that. At number 1, again, I'm going to cheat here. It's the rookies. Why was this Raiders team so good, or not so good, was better than expected last year? The 2019 rookies. This season, I am a little bit worried that not just Raiders rookies, but all rookies in the NFL, you're going to see them kind of struggle, especially early on, because they don't know the offenses or they don't know the players that they're working with. So for all these great players, I mean, we talk about Ruggs, Arnett, Bowden, Edwards. I like Tanner Muse, John Simpson, and then Amik Robertson. The Raiders have a lot of confidence in these guys. We know that. But are the coaches going to have confidence? Is Mike Mayock going to have confidence? And are they going to know exactly where they need to be without any coaching, without training camp? I'm not 100% sure. So for me, the top player that needs training camp, it's the rookies. Now we'll cycle through this one more time real quick. P.J. Hall, Mariota, Zay Jones, Moreau, and Johnson. 5 players that really need training camp. But the top 5 guys that need training camp the most, I have Rico Gafford on the roster bubble. Arden Key, will you please step up? Cleveland Ferrell, I know you can do it. And I'm rounding out the show with UDAs, rookies, and fathers. Happy Father's Day. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.